Tonight on the South Today, sparks fly at the Dunedin City Council as the debate over reinstating a groin at St Clair continues. A damning report highlights major rifts at the Otago Regional Council between staff and councillors. And could time be up for the old Edith Cavell single-lane bridge near Queenstown? Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. An expert in coastal erosion claims reinstating a groin at Dunedin St Clair Beach would be a waste of money. Associate Professor Wayne Stevenson believes there isn't enough movement of sand along the shore for a groin to be effective in building up the beach. However, a long-term advocate of reinstating the famous wooden poles at Middle Beach remains convinced it's worthwhile.
Inspecting the damage from recent destructive storms. The loss of sandy beach areas alongside St Clair has been an issue for local residents and the Dunedin City Council for well over a century, after the first seawall was built. But Otago University coastal geomorphologist Associate Professor Wayne Stevenson believes building a new groin or set of wooden poles at this location would be a waste of time and money.
I don't believe they'll work in this case here, no, because most of the sediment transport is onshore and offshore, not alongshore.
The sand trap structure has long been a feature of the area, with the first groin installed at St Clair in the early 1900s. A long-term St Clair resident spoke at Thursday's Dunedin City Council meeting in support of plans to reinstate a groin to help stem the damage being done.
The beach in this condition threatens the great Kiwi day at the beach. Whether it's walking, swimming or just playing, it's a healthy outdoor activity and it's free. There should be no barrier to entry.
But Stevenson says groins are expensive to build and maintain and claims what's happening at St Clair isn't coastal erosion.
In this case, I think do nothing. There's no need for a groin here. You build groins because you're trying to stop coastal erosion, and there really isn't any serious long-term coastal erosion here. There's the periodic storm bites or little bits of erosion around storms, but the beach recovers from those events.
Dunedin City Councillor Jules Radich has been pushing for the reinstatement of the line of wooden poles at St Clair Beach and has plenty of support, with an online petition he's backing receiving more than 4,500 signatures. Radich tabled a notice of motion to Council on Thursday, asking for a 5-year trial of a reinstated groin, which he claims were effective previously, before the structures were allowed to deteriorate. His notice of motion put to the full council meeting failed, with 5 councillors in support, but 7 against. In Dunedin, the South Today.
2 people were injured when a bus and vehicle collided in Christchurch this morning. Emergency services were called to the crash in Bishopdale around 9:30 this morning on Greers Road near the intersection with Kilburn Street. A St John ambulance, police and a fire crew were all called to the scene. 2 people sustained minor injuries in the crash. Police say it appears the vehicle may have driven into the back of the bus. Greers Road was reduced to 1 lane while the scene was cleared this morning. One of the groups involved in a street racer gathering in Dunedin at the weekend has issued a public apology. Around 500 cars packed into the car park beside Forsyth Bar Stadium on Saturday evening, with police receiving several complaints of racing and burnouts. The Midnight Crawlers were one of 3 groups involved. It says organisers had good intentions, but the event got out of hand. Dunedin Venues Management CEO Terry Davies was shocked to learn about the group at Forsyth Bar Stadium and says they wouldn't have supported any illegal activity. Earlier on Saturday, about 20 drivers performed skids and drove at speed around Forbury Park Raceway. One man had requested to do a lap of honour for his grandfather, but promised Trotton Club Chairman Craig Padden there would be no hooning. A damning report commissioned by the Otago Regional Council has highlighted major rifts between staff, regional councillors and the Chief Executive. The report found issues around transparency and information not being shared willingly, along with fundamental problems related to leadership and culture.
Unwell, if not broken. That's how the relationship between Otago Regional Councillors and the former Chief Executive is described in a just-released report. Retired High Court Judge Sir Graham Pankhurst was commissioned to report into the council's staff sanctioning of illegal dumping of rubble into the Clutha River. His report goes on to say there are serious issues around transparency at the council, as advice and information is often not shared willingly nor accurately and promptly. The report comes after the Chief Executive, Sarah Gardner, left the council with short notice. The report describes a rift between staff and councillors and says, in essence, there seems to be a problem that staff think the councillors do not stick to their role of strategic direction and policy, and, if monitoring performance, councillors do not treat the staff with respect. Council Chairman Andrew Noon says he and the interim Chief Executive support the findings of the report in full. Noon also says changes have been implemented at the Council in accordance with the conclusions and recommendations of the report. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Firefighters arrived just in time to save a man from fire at a Caversham property today. Fire and Emergency New Zealand says 2 crews arrived at 11 a.m. to find a heavily smoke-logged house in Peter Street with no one outside. Firefighters using breathing apparatus entered the house and found a man still standing in the smoke who collapsed as crews got to him. The man was dragged out and other firefighters began first aid, including oxygen therapy. He was in a serious condition, suffering from smoke inhalation, and taken to a St John ambulance. A new bridge may be on the way for the Queenstown suburb of Arthurs Point. It follows speculation by the council on whether or not the more than 100-year-old Edith Cavell single-lane bridge will last much longer.
There's been a lot of discussion in Queenstown recently about the merits of a new bridge for the Arthurs Point area. The Queenstown Lakes District Council has put out a request for quotation to assess the feasibility. 2 bridge options are on the table, either a pedestrian bridge or a 2-lane bridge, both downstream from the existing Edith Cavell single-lane bridge. Andrew Blackford, member of the Arthurs Point Community Association, says the proposal lines up with the council's emission reduction goals.
I think it's important because obviously the council's overarching strategy is to reduce transport-related emissions, and their goal is to get a 40% mode shift, so moving people out of cars and into buses and bikes, etc.
The council's priority would be put on the pedestrian bridge, with the more costly 2-lane bridge project to follow in a decade. But that proposal's currently been taken off the table after funding from Waka Kotahi NZ Transport Agency was cut, while they consider other options. Blackford says this upgrade would suit the location of the area.
And for Arthurs Point, which is pretty close to the CBD, it's really in a prime position to move into an active transport mode, provided that the infrastructure's there to support it.
The council's also looking at whether or not Edith Cavell, built in 1919, could be converted into a primary pedestrian bridge for Arthurs Point once a new road bridge is built. But with increasing traffic in the area, there's motivation to get something solid underway sooner rather than later. In Queenstown, The South Today.
E whai Yakane, still to come on The South Today. The government keeps the country in orange and orders mini masks for young school children. And a popular Christchurch pub is knocked down after 50 years of pulling pints.
It's a steal of a deal. Buy any 2 things from My Mate John's this weekend and he'll give you the 3rd one for free. Or buy just 1 and get another at half price. Plus pay it off over 18 months interest free. It's a steal of a deal. Buy 2, get 1 free. Buy 1, get 1 half price. This weekend at John's Furniture Warehouse.
Get furniture from Stafford Street and My Mate John. Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
Hi, we're Age Concern Otago.
Age Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities,
including Little Walks.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Drop when you.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. A Seacliff man who shot his ex-partner's new boyfriend in the head has been sent to prison for 6 years and 11 months for attempted murder. 24-year-old Krishan Dick Karatai was sentenced today for shooting Hemi Tahuri between the eyes at a Karatane property last October. The victim miraculously survived the bullet to the head. The court hearing he'd had a 1% chance of surviving his injuries. The defendant and the victim's girlfriend had previously been in a failed relationship. Another of Dunedin's sea lion pups has been killed by a vehicle, this time in a hit and run on the Otago Peninsula. Concerns have been expressed about the safety of sea lion pups, with roadside barriers and signs put up along inlet roads in recent years during the breeding season. The Department of Conservation says the death happened on Sunday afternoon and was reported by a member of the public earlier in the week. Ranger Jim Fife believes whoever hit the 6-month-old pup would have known about it. The pup weighed up to 50 kilograms and the body had tyre marks over it. He's disappointed the driver did not inform DOC. The government's keeping New Zealand at the orange traffic light setting for a while longer. It says hospitals are under pressure from flu and COVID, with numbers starting to creep up again. Government ministers this afternoon announced a series of new measures to try and help reduce spread. The Ministry of Health's brought 10 million special kid-sized masks, which will be distributed to Year 4 to 7 students across the country. Extra funding's also been allocated to schools and early childhood services to support better ventilation over the winter months. A popular former pub and restaurant in central Christchurch is being flattened by the diggers to make way for new housing. The venue had a number of names over its 50 years, including the Fitzgerald Arms, but was gutted by fire in October 2020.
A favourite watering hole for many has finally met its end. Diggers are demolishing the Fitz Sports Bar on Fitzgerald Ave to make way for a new housing complex. The sports bar was gutted by fire during an early morning blaze in October 2020, which was deemed accidental. The popular sports bar has had various owners over its 50 years. Demolition of the wooden building is nearing completion. Rising from the ashes, the renamed Fitz 2 Sports Bar relocated after the fire to its new site on Stephen Street, opposite Lancaster Park. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Curling stalwart Peter Becker has packed a lot into 5 decades on and off the ice, but it's his latest accolade which cements him as New Zealand's king of curling.
A huge honour for Maniatoto's Peter Becker. He's become the first ever New Zealander to be inducted into the World Curling Hall of Fame. And after more than 50 years involved with the sport, he says the recognition is a huge privilege.
It's a tremendous honour. It's doesn't happen to very many people around the world, and to be included in that group is exceptional for me.
The Hall of Fame recognition is the highest non-playing accolade in the curling world. It recognises Becker's outstanding contribution to the sport through achievements on the ice as a player and coach, as well as off-ice endeavours. Those include driving the development of the Naseby Indoor Curling Rink, which opened in 2005 as the first dedicated curling facility in the Southern Hemisphere. And while he's the first Kiwi to receive the honour, he insists it's not just for him.
No, I just feel that it's an award that I'll accept on behalf of New Zealand curling, because I'm just a sort of the bloke at the front, but there's been a lot of other people behind me that have done an awful lot of work, and I sort of feel the award should partially be going to them.
Becker says he was quite emotional when he received the call from the World Curling President in the middle of the night. He's passed his 50-year passion for the sport onto his 3 children, Sean, Scott and Bridget, who've all represented Aotearoa at the top level and have played and coached each other. Peter Becker represented New Zealand on the ice at the highest levels between 1991 and 2018, before focusing on the coaching side of the game. In the Maniatoto, the South Today.
Whai Yakane. After the break on the South Today, we're in the thick of winter now, and Central Otago curlers have been competing on the ice, and we'll take a look at the weather ahead of the weekend.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Being a big softie takes training. I've gone to great lengths to be super soft while still being strong and reliable. So I'm soft on you and soft on the environment.
Cotton Soft, proud sponsor of Bowel Cancer New Zealand.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's a steal of a deal. Buy two, get one free. Buy one, get one half price. This weekend at John's Furniture Warehouse.
And my mate John.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Curling teams from across central Otago fought it out on the ice in Alexandra yesterday for the annual McRae Trophy. Played outdoors on natural ice, the game involves a lot of sweeping to keep the curling stone sliding fast enough to reach its intended destination.
The final day of this year's McRae Trophy curling competition. Over the previous few weeks, 25 of Ida Burns curling clubs have played in a round robin, whittling the teams down to the best of 8 for yesterday's final. Event convener Barry Wills says what they're playing on the Ice and Line outdoor rink in Alexandra is traditional Scottish curling, similar in style to a bonspiel and different from what is played indoors.
This is basically outdoor curling, and we have the metal frames that we stand on. They're called crampets. You just throw from that metal plate as opposed to the normal indoor stuff where you're actually sliding, and that's called hack curling.
Wills says the furious sweeping is important if team members think the stone is not sliding fast enough to reach its intended destination.
The idea is that when you sweep hard, you actually create a layer of water just in front of the stone, and that makes the stone slip more easily, and it will get it into the house where maybe if you'd left it alone it wouldn't have made it.
Wills says outdoor curling is a popular sport, with this year's trophy attracting players from Gore and Arrowtown, and a bonspiel, if the winter gets cold enough for the Ida Burn Dam to freeze over, attracting players from as far as Auckland.
We all work together, we play together, we try not to be too competitive, but of course you are. But at the end of the day, look, you've had a really good day on the ice with your mates curling, and just enjoy it.
The event is named after former keen curler Lockie McRae, who donated the trophy nearly 30 years ago. This year's winning team was from Manaburn. In Alexandra, the South Today.
You are a curler, #1.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Sparks fly at the Dunedin City Council as the debate continues over the merits of reinstating a groin at St Clair Beach to control the erosion. A damning report commissioned by the Otago Regional Council highlights major rifts between staff, councillors and the former chief executive. And could time be up for the 100-year-old Edith Cavell single-lane bridge near Arthur's Point, with replacement options being considered in Queenstown? And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the editor, Barry Stewart. Kia ora, Barry.
Hello, Hannah. Well, you've just taken the wind out of my sails a little bit with the Otago Regional Council story, but we will have a lot more detail on that Pankhurst report, damning Pankhurst report, in the papers tomorrow. So read about that tomorrow. Also to look out for tomorrow is a spectacular photo, and that'll be on our front page tomorrow. And it is about man and wildlife sharing the moment. So I'm not going to say too much more because I just want to keep the excitement for tomorrow morning.
No, you've sufficiently done that.
Gotcha?
Yeah.
Okay, buy a paper tomorrow and find out all about it. It's great. We also have a story about the Lake Hawea farmer has hit back at his critics, accusing his practices of being woke nonsense. At Australia's first certified carbon zero farm. He says no sector advances without the trial of new and ideally better ways. So
right.
Makes a valid point there. That was, of course, on Country Calendar last weekend.
Gotcha.
So a really interesting story, and it's caused a bit of feedback, and he has responded to us today. So
bit of an interesting read.
And this is not necessarily related, but a Dunedin academic leads a new study into tall poppy syndrome in New Zealand. So that's on our business pages tomorrow, discussion about that.
Yeah.
And it's always one that is...
it's a classic conversation in New Zealand, isn't it?
Yeah. And now we get to our sporting lift out, which is, of course, comprehensive coverage of our club rugby season in country and town. But also we're looking at the test match, first test between the All Blacks and Ireland on Saturday. I know we're all excited about that.
Yeah.
And the team was named today, and Scott Barrett, the Canterbury captain, lock, is where's he going to be?
Oh, is he where he should be?
He's on the side. He's on the line side flank, and of course that's raised a few eyebrows, and there's some discussion around that.
All right. Well, we look forward to reading a bit more about that and all your other stories in the paper tomorrow, Barry.
Indeed. Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MoleMap.
Looking at the situation, a few more days of cold southwesterly airflow is in the pipeline, with winds gale force at times on the south coast and wintry showers elsewhere too. Heading to the top of the South Island first, morning cloud and showers for Nelson, then a clear day with 13 degrees. Greymouth is fine to start with afternoon showers and southwesterlies along with a high of 10. And Christchurch gets a few wet patches in the morning, but clears to a fine day with nor'westerlies, also reaching 10 degrees. To our southern towns now. Well, you might get knocked around a bit through here as the southwesterlies will come through thick and fast tomorrow with showers at times. Expect 7 degrees in the Catlins, Lumsden and Gore, while Balclutha heads for a high of 9. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, gusty westerlies are on the way with some cloud. Queenstown and Wanaka will get up to 8 degrees, Alexandra 10, and Tiano's winds will tend southwest and the top temperature will be around the 7-degree mark. To the northern towns next. Tomorrow's looking fine with fresh westerlies for Timaru and Awamaru, both getting 11 as the high. It'll be cloudy inland with gusty westerlies and 9 degrees for Twizel and Omarama. Down to Dunedin. Strong cold southwesterlies are dropping back tonight after a wild afternoon, and it'll drop down to 4 degrees. Tomorrow's looking like a cloudy one, quite thick and high after a clear morning, and a mix of west to southwest winds. Expect a high of 10 and a low of 7. Saturday looks sunny with scattered cloud and more westerlies, up to 13 and then down to 5 overnight. And now to Invercargill. The strong southwesterlies continue through the night as it drops down to 5. Friday gets the kitchen sink with cold southwesterlies near gale force at times and wintry showers of hail and sleet. 8 the high and then down to 3. Into the weekend, mostly fine on Saturday, but the southwest winds will hang around for at least another day, another 8-degree high and an overnight low of 5 degrees. That's the news this Thursday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te po, ka kite anō.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.